Listen first to the simple way Moses introduced God's words to Abraham in verse 1. The Lord had said to Abram. A number of modern translations correctly observe that the verb in this line should be translated, the Lord had said, instead of simply, the Lord said. This translation is important because, according to Stephen's speech in Acts chapter 7, verses 2 through 4, Abraham received his call in Ur before his father Terah died in Haran. But in the literary presentation of Genesis, we learn first that Terah died in chapter 11, verse 32, and then we learn in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, that God called Abraham. For this reason, Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 represents a flashback, a regression in time, and should be translated, the Lord had said. This verse recalls an earlier moment before Abraham had begun to do anything in response to God, long before he had begun to move toward the Promised Land. Following this introduction, we come upon the first half of God's words to Abraham. This first half begins with an imperative verb indicating a command. In Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, we read these words, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." As we can see, this section opens with the imperative, leave, or as the NIV paraphrases it, leave and go. God commanded Abraham to do something, to go to the land of Canaan. This is the first and primary command God gave to the patriarch. After the command to leave for the Promised Land, the first part of God's words to Abraham divides into three sections, indicated by three independent verbal expressions in the first part of verse 2. Look again at Genesis chapter 12, verse 2. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great. These words focus on blessings that God presented to Abraham as he called him. First, God said he would make Abraham into a great nation. Second, he offered to bless Abraham with prosperity. And third, he said he would give Abraham and his descendants a great name or reputation. Now we come to the second half of God's words to Abraham. Although most modern translations do not enable us to see it, the second part of God's words to Abraham parallels the grammatical structure of the first half. It begins with an imperative, followed by three independent verbal expressions. In Genesis chapter 12, verses 2 through 3, we read these words, "And you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." The Hebrew verb translated here, "you will be a blessing," is imperative in form, and probably designed to parallel the form of the command, leave, in verse 1. But this imperative does not function as a command. It may be translated in a number of ways, such as, "and you will be a blessing," or "and may you be a blessing," or even, "and you will certainly be a blessing." In all events, this imperative marks an important transition in thought. It shifts attention away from Abraham receiving blessings, as we've seen in the first part of verse 2, to Abraham becoming a conduit of blessings to others. This second imperative form is also followed by three independent verbal expressions. These three verbs indicate the process by which Abraham would become a blessing to others. First, God said, "I will bless those who bless you." That is, God would give good things to those who dealt positively with Abraham. When people treated Abraham well, God would treat them well. Second, God promised Whoever curses you, I will curse. That is to say, God would curse those who disdained Abraham. God promised to protect Abraham from harm by responding harshly to those who made themselves Abraham's enemies. But in the third place, God said, all peoples will be blessed through you. At first glance, this third focus may seem to contradict the theme of cursing for Abraham's enemies, but God promised Abraham that by means of a twofold process of blessing Abraham's friends and cursing his enemies, God would extend his blessings ultimately to all the families of the earth.